Right, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh and very good afternoon. Okay, harap semua sihat sejahtera dan saya pasti saya rasa kamu semua ni ada dalam perjalanan on your way back to hometown and be prepared early for your Hari Raya celebration. But anyway, as promised, I still need to conduct this class so that you are on track to finishing off your your syllabus. Okay, your syllabus. So yeah, I think definitely a less interaction today, and more or less, it doesn't matter. At least you can, uh, still listen to me. Uh, and I'll be talking about process of innovation. Okay. Last week we discussed about theories. Sources of innovation. A week before that, we discussed about uh, theories of innovation. Now it's more or less about taking that understanding from those two chapters, so that you can imagine what the steps model of innovation available around you. Okay. So just before that, maybe perhaps, yeah, okay, things better. Now, the process of innovation. Here you can see that we want you to explore or try to differentiate between exploitation and exploration phase of innovation. This is very fundamental because we sometimes thinking that by doing research and development, you will be ended up in innovation. Okay, it's not necessarily like that the case. Okay, some sort of innovation, they follow a certain steps. Okay, and it's important for you to differentiate this exploitation because exploitation is more or less interested. Hang on a second. Okay. Second is to distinguish the step in innovation process. It is very important insight as well because we know for the fact innovation is not happening or it is not happen or taking place in a vacuum. You need some sort of what we call medium in order to make this innovation successful. What else that you need to know about this uh, topic is to differentiate and distinguish the different activities associated with process of innovation. Uh, why we need to know this? Because innovation, there are different types of innovation, and there are multiple ways of achieving or generating innovation subsequently to make it a successful one. Fourth is to evaluate techniques available to facilitate the process of innovation. Fifth, to compare and contrast open and closed form of innovation. It might be interesting for you because this is the first time for you hearing the term of open innovation. So this is a new thinking of innovation that we're going to investigate. Now, this is what we call the generic process of innovation. Generic means we are looking at ordinary steps for us, either individual, companies, research institutes, universities, and big corporations to generate innovation. If you can see my cursor moving here. These are two steps: ideation or insight, and proceed with the development. These two steps are considered as research and development phase, i.e. exploration phase. Exploration, that means you will be looking at new ideas, at generating them, or even tries to screen the ideas. Now, after the idea have been identified, now you can start to develop, or in other words, try to crystallize the idea. You will start thinking about, this idea is viable for me to proceed with. Okay, so this is another important information for you to consider. And you can see, besides the exploration or the subsequent of exploration, is going to be commercialization. Now, some people say that commercialization, sorry, we are very fascinated. We are very fascinated by the fact that we are good at R&D, research and development. Okay, some sort of institution like university, like UMK, they have this strong understanding that once you are good at, you are doing well with your research and development, then you will have a guaranteed future for your innovation. However, this generic model of innovation process, you can see there are additional steps that need to be taken in order to exploit value of that innovation or invention. Now, let's see. The next phase or the next steps are designing. Then proceed with, you try to evaluate the market. Definitely, after that, you need to come out, or you need to have like sort of, some sort of like you are having a, approval for something, so that they call it is a market evaluation. How is your product or product or service will be adapt, understood, viewed, embraced by the targeted market. Okay, then you will proceed with the production engineering, where you try to ascertain where ways of doing or ways of manufacturing that product or services, mostly product. Then you will go to product testing. Here you can see the importance of certification on this product or pilot testing. Okay, so product and pilot testing normally is done by the third parties. Okay, third party. If they only required, a single, you will get only a partial market testing. Then after market testing or pilot testing, during that phase, you will get a feedback from the paid customer or paying customer. So that means here you are not talking about, no, we are not talking about a small scale, but we talking about industrial scale manufacturing. This is very important. So you can see the combination between exploration and exploitation, this whole cycle, we call it innovation. Okay, so next time when people start asking you about what is innovation, then I hope that you can retrieve, you can retrieve this information and saying that based on your, some sort like a smart tire with some sort of invention and like that, you will know for the fact that commercialization is much more longer and very stressful in innovation. Okay, because it has or it entails 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps altogether. And you can see here the steps are they are not taking the steps alone, but rather will be accompanied by um, some sort of challenges. One of the common challenges for any market and pilot testing is normally what we call it efficacy testing. Efficacy testing that we refer to as safety testing. So that's why uh, the Prime Minister of Malaysia sometimes mentioned that full-scale manufacturing and launch is limited to the entrepreneurs or the organization determination to be a successful, okay, to be a successful one. Because here there's no additional help. There is no what we call it this this uh, what we call it target market. Okay, target market. So function of prototype. One thing in a process of innovation is what we call a prototype. Some people say that it is part of proof of concept. So that means if you are talking about product, it must be tangible. It must be tangible. So from the tangibility of the business, they will look at evaluation and testing of the function of the prototype. Okay. Now, after the evaluation and testing, they will get a crucial result, what we call it a user requirement perspective. Okay, user requirement perspective. Under this perspective, you can see the expectation of the paid customer and sometimes product in product in this area of health and safety, health, consumption and all that. They are very concerned about the evaluation and testing. Okay. Second is to do integration. Integration of component and system, where you start to assemble, right? You start to assemble the components so that you can be able to look or determine the form of that intended product. Okay, because when we are talking about this testing and all that, some sort of product, they do not have a standard. And what more, process innovation. They do not have standards. They do not have SOP, or what we call here is how you see the liaison person when we are trying to launch the innovation. So integration of component and system again is about you bringing the best solution to the customer, and however they will look at into this integration and component system as assembly type activities of the innovation. Next, about the prototype is about the learning curve of the organization before launching of the product or services to a bigger market. It is very important. If you are unable to convince me or you try to convince others about this ability of some sort like entrepreneurial competencies in learning. However, if you are unable to convince the person next to you or in front of you, you might be might endure what we call a failed innovation. Yeah? The fourth one is what we call a risk reduction. Okay, we must remember when we try to invent something, it is going to be costly. It's going to be costly financially, and some of your parents in your around you concerned about this efficacy kind of thing. Either is a safety or either is effective for that product. Normally, what we call it a health product. So these are model and prototype. Models and prototype of innovation process. Okay. Okay. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4 types of prototypes basically and model. The first two is what we call the models or what we call 2D models. Okay. And 2D is more or less about concept of sketch drawing. You try to draw and you are try to get an artist impression about it. Okay, so 2D models is quite simple, but yet effective to convince people there are innovation in that product. Because some product they do not need a complex explanation in order to make it work and to make it successful. It, third is about the third model and is about 3D rough model and 3D appearance model. What it means by rough model? Some people said rough model is about the skeleton or what we call it the framework of that product. Okay, and it produces mock-up, white model, side model, and soft model. And these models are fragile. Okay, so that means the advantage of being in this circle is that we can imagine that 3D rough model is a very basic. Some people argue that there are no shapes of whatsoever of that 3D rough model. However, we do have what we call it 3D appearance model. It might be better than 3D rough model. In the simulation, the CAD models and also finite element. Next, after 3D models, there is a functional prototype. Okay, you know, the term that you are familiar with is only prototype. I don't blame you because the word prototype is exactly what it means. And somehow the prototype has their own function in order to, involve or even try to manage that product. Okay. Okay. And you can see here, there are another type of prototype, what we call user test prototype. This is the actually working prototype. Okay, like a car, you can see the camouflage. That is what we call user test prototype because they are able to drive it on the road and it matches specifically on the road car or passenger car. Okay, Meanwhile, at the end of it, what we call it organization or system prototype. Okay, this is the first batch of production that follow accordingly of the engineering design. If we are talking about, this, you know, um, hang on a second. Okay, if we are talking about this uh, production type of innovation. So what it means is that means they will try to establish the maximum role of that product. In this case, organization or system prototypes refers to what we call it capital goods or product. Capital, that means big, like an aircraft. Okay, kapal terbang kan. Jadi dia pilot runs, production model and first article. That means they will produce a review or what we call it analysis of that prototype. Okay. Now, what it made or what Dyson made of this um, prototype? So according to James Dyson, all the while I was making cyclone refers to this what we call it dual cyclone technology. Acrylic cyclone, rolled brass cyclone, machine aluminum cyclone, which look like a prosthetic limb for the Tin Man in the Wizard of Ozzy. Okay, Tin Man or Wizard of Ozzy is a character in a TV series, Wizard of Ozzy, whose life was changed. For 3 years, I did this alone. So that means, according to James Dyson, when you want to do innovation, you need to perfectly or perfect. You need to perfect your prototype. Okay, so for me, I reflect this argument by Dyson by understanding that if you have the perfect prototype, you will know what it costs to make, what is the percentage of defect of that prototype, and this is where you manage it. Because in a way, if you produce a new product, definitely you are on the learning curve, what we say. So there will be some defects you will face, or the company will face what we call it engineering challenge, and you try to solve it very well. Now, at the phase of design, what requires in this design phase? First, what we call likely to cover the precise shape of the product. Okay, so design, that means you can be, because nowadays or even 15, 20 years ago, it started by what we call a virtual design. Virtual design. However, if you can go on social media or any media, you will see some product they are unable to come out with a proper design unless you start on carving on something. For example, very bespoke shoes, the kasut yang mahal-mahal and everything, leather made everything. Sometimes you want to have a shoes, a pair of shoes that really fit you nicely. I use really fit you nicely because there's no room for error. It must fit perfectly on the customer's feet. So this is the what it means. Third is the tolerance for which has to be manufactured. Uh, I have a bit on reservation on this, because when you do design, you cannot tolerate so much on the manufacturing or the assembly activities, because it will later on drop below your expectation. Okay, apa saya maksudkan kat sini? For me, the tolerance must be low, because you need to aim when you design, you need to aim 110% perfect design. Because when you started to deliver it, manufacture it, this will give some sort of headache to the manufacturer, because it always what we call it underperform of that product. Material to be used in manufacturer, yes, this is very good argument. The process which product will be manufactured. This is what we call assembly steps or manufacturing steps of the product. So that is design. This is what we call a manufacturing system. Okay, manufacturing system where you can see the input is being fed raw material, labor, purchase component directly to the manufacturing system, because definitely you need to have a raw material or some sort of a control input to the process. Okay, now then you have this manufacturing system which converts all these input, either raw material, labor, or components, so that they are able to able to utilize the input to produce final output, let's see. So in between input and output, there is the phase what we call process, and this process requires equipment, information, tooling, services, supplies, and energy. Right. I'm not sure whether you can, you need to. I think definitely you need to read more about this manufacturing system. Some of you come from manufacturing. I believe that you can understand this very well. Production engineering. Okay, production engineering is part of engineering, production engineering, for certain countries, for the certain uh, for a certain, well, not country, but organization, I would say, they sometimes having such a problem with this production engineering, and sometimes they decide manufacturing is not their forte, and they try to outsource it. However, they really interested in the selling part of it. Okay. Production engineer is likely to involve consideration the following order in order to keep the cost down. So what it means here, that the production engineering during this what we call exploitation phase of innovation need to consider every step, that what we call it a value chain ataupun rantaian nilai dalam production activities, and in order to make sure that the manufacturing can cope with those design, they are able to reducing parts cost. You are able to use standardized component if possible. Reflecting this, I believe that you can see how Asia capitalized on this idea of saving if you have unlimited numbers of parents and all that, so that they are able to be in a uniformity appearance and all. Using standardized component, I just mentioned, using self-aligned apartment, that's it, okay, and using a bathroom operation that require a single and linear motion. So the last point here, using assembly operation that require a single linear motion, that means you don't need to tell the machines or whatever to come up with a double or triple idea to proceed with. Next, this is what we call it Rothwell 5 model. in this model, they try to communicate with you the narrative of the innovation. That means they will look into the history of that innovation, the coupling model of integrated model and all that, you know. So the first one is what we call technology push, second is demand pull, third coupling model, fourth integrated model, and fifth network model, or what we call it open innovation. Now, this is a very typical process of innovation, what we call a technology push model. So it starts by basic science ideation. Then they try to design engineering. That means they are able to solve the basic science. However, they are need to proceed with idea and engineering. What it means, they try to design, if possible, an assembly line to the basic science that produce ideas or some sort of invention that can be produced to the market and all that. And there is a manufacturing activity, definitely. Either it's an in-house manufacturing or outsource manufacturing. It doesn't matter. Okay. Um, that is manufacturing and also marketing, definitely, where you try to sell a product to somebody. You need to convince them that you are actually communicating values with the okay. And last is the sales, whereby this is where people started to forget who is the developer of this uh, uh, um, uh, um, a product innovation. Okay. Demand pull, where you have market that demands something, or there is a gap. Sorry, there's a gap in the market that can be easily spotted. Okay. So market needs, they will feed the information to research and development activities so that they can come up with a new solution. Otherwise, this research and development keep on doing the same product and the same work process and produce almost identical output at all. And this is a production because why this is a bit simple pull. Okay, for me, I think is about marketing as well, where you need to boost up people understanding and people attention towards the new product or improved product that any organization is proposing. And in between research and development, research development and marketing, we know for the fact that production and marketing is not incongruent activities, because production is technical, marketing and study of market needs is what we call it a social science. So somehow in this demand pool is about bringing straight away the idea that has been communicated with this industry, or industry itself having a such problem, but they don't know how to um, settle it. So coupling model, science and technology based, idea R&D, manufacturing, marketing, and product launch. It's almost like a pull model. However, you can see here the what you call it the China I can get this word now, sorry guys. You can see science and technology based, they are much dependent on market acceptance or market intelligence in this coupling model, because in coupling model you can see the steps are almost identical: idea, R&D, manufacturing, and marketing and product launch. However, at the bottom you can see the guru is different than what we thought. Okay, so idea could be coming from the guru or the researcher. I mean researcher, sorry for using it also. And there are back and forth step between idea and R&D. Dia patah, pergi balik everything. Siapa yang minat idea and R&D, they will go, get into this. Definitely focus with manufacturing, marketing, and product launch. Now, the main objectives of this step is basically to ascertain the importance of, you know, the importance of understanding people in making sure that the product is successful. So integrated model, what we call a simultaneous step, where they start research and development first, and after that immediately we start with prototyping. This is more or less what we call it a forced participation. However, people are okay with it because they can follow the step one at a time, but at the same time, there's a certain people part only is about something else, you know, it's about something else. So research and development start, then straight away proceed with prototyping, designing, manufacturing, and marketing. Now, the question is which one come first? Which one come last? It doesn't matter because it's integrated model. It's important to know that the weightage for each activities are equal. So this is the network model. It's more sophisticated, whereby you can start to think about people coming to you for help, for kind of assistance, for kind of technology and all that. However, you as a you know, you as the integrator, what we call it, can understand that the surrounding of the high-tech product is not actually that nice. Okay, it's not actually that nice because you can see a lot of interaction must be done by parties involved in this. Why this? Hang on a second. Funny. Okay, is a network model facilitating factors, all that, you know, by technology element. Okay, this is what you call open innovation, whereby you let others to know and also discover about you. Is the open innovation is a paradigm that assume that firm can and should be externally firm that can and should use external idea as well as internal and internal path to market, and as a firm look to enhance their technologies. This is very good. So open innovation is basically you are letting go your invention, let others capitalize or take advantage on it, and you at the same time are looking for solution elsewhere. Someone will pick up something and put in your, you know, whatever container and all that, because you are able to satisfy their needs by letting go certain technologies. You know, closed versus open innovation. You can see internal exploration plus external exploitation. External, that means it's not in the organization. We are talking innovation. However, if we have external external exploration, I beg your pardon, and internal exploitation is called innovation as well. Okay, so when we see the potential of things happening or anything that can facilitate the innovation process, it doesn't matter it's come from the inside resources of the open innovation okay. So open innovation, one firm leads leads but uses innovation of other small. So that means it has anchor companies in this innovation. External firms supply innovation, and also external of knowledge general can be tapped via a network or partnership. Features of open innovation: explicitly recognize that no one firm can hire all the best brain. This is a major argument. Open innovation see there's a lot of potential. You know, he once said that the essence of open innovation. Sorry, here I am referring to Professor Henry Chesbrough. They call it open innovation because there are so much spillover of these activities. The networking in various forms can provide the means of linking external knowledge and also linking of the okay, recognize there are innovation strategies other than first mover strategy. This is very important insight. Some people assume if you are able to be the market leader, then you are safe. However, this is not the case that we are looking at. Recognizes that there are innovation challenge other than first innovation. Recognize there are innovation strategies other than first mover strategy. So you, for example, with the Samsung, they are not really keen to be the first mover or first introducer of certain, but they are rather wait, quote unquote, the Apple in order to retrieve some sort of information. Management of intellectual property is vitally important in order to ensure maximize its value. So that means the management style of the company when they want to embark on innovation, it must be open-minded. Okay, management of intellectual property is vitally important in order to ensure maximum value and can be achieved in various ways. So erosion factors favoring innovation. This is a point for discussion basically. You can see here the growing mobility of a highly experienced and skilled product, i.e. can keep the knowledge inside. Second is to increase the number of students, increase time people spend in university and training and all that. So when you are able to increase this number, you are actually allowing them to generate more ideas. Okay. Third, increase availability of private venture fund, definitely, because I mentioned a couple of times that innovation would be, something that attract people to invest. Okay, independent people. All right, so that's all for this week, and I would like you to, scan the QR code. Okay, so please scan the QR code. For those who have scanned, you feel free to leave. And guys, Selamat Hari Raya, Idul Fitri, Maaf Zahir Batin, and hopefully all of you stay safe and coming back home coming back into UMK in one piece. Okay, so thank you very much, guys. See you after Hari Raya. Assalamualaikum and salam sejahtera.